on to it. Moves ahead. Marcus Smart. Up. Puts it in. No. Yes. Followed by Horford. 13-7 to go. 4-point game. Timeout. Brooklyn.
Welcome into Celtics post-game live presented by our New England Ford dealers and Ford trucks. Eddie House, Kendrick Perkins, Amina Smith here with you. Perk, bring the brooms out. The Celtics, they sweep the Brooklyn Nets. Shout out to Eddie House for finding these brooms inside the studio. Perk, we got to get you a broom. You got to get in on this.
I know. You know what's crazy? Whoever thought that we would be sitting up here right now saying that the Celtics swept the Brooklyn Nets in this series? Like, we all had a feeling that they were going to win it, but we didn't know that they were going to dominate this series. I mean, like, this is beyond impressive to me. Like, when I'm looking at this team and I'm looking like what they just done, like, man, they just took the life out of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving like it was nothing. A sweep?
A sweep. And honestly, I had this series going all 7 games, but apparently the Celtics, they were able to surprise me as well. Eddie, you talk about this team, this Nets team, being mollywopped by the Celtics. What did you observe today out there on the court?
Well, I think Kevin Durant came out in the first half, in his first quarter especially, was aggressive. But as the game went on, the Celtics wore on him. And you could see it, every shot started getting a little more tough, and he kept forcing, even though he was trying. But it looked like Kyrie was disengaged. It's like those two guys were never engaged at the same time. And it has everything to do with the Boston Celtics frustrating everything that they were doing. Offensively, they could not get what they wanted. And then on the flip side, on the defensive end, the Nets had to guard. The Celtics made the Nets guard every possession. They moved the basketball around. They shared the basketball, and guys stepped up and knocked shots in. You know, the superstars were the stars. Jaylen Brown, again, with 6 points in the closeout quarter. I mean, come on now. I can't say enough about this basketball team.
And Jaylen Brown finished tonight with 22 points. He's with Abby Chin right now.
Jaylen, coming into this postseason, you said you'd take you guys over anybody. You sweep the Brooklyn Nets, a team that was considered a championship contender at one point this season. What are the emotions?
Don't get it twisted. That's a good team over there. I know everybody's ridiculing them and they on them, but they got some great players and a great team. We came out with a great game plan and played really well, but Brooklyn still deserves their props. They'll beat a lot of teams on the East and the West. Unfortunately, we came in and won today, but it's a good team over there.
Jaylen, what went through your mind when Jason Tatum fouled out?
We got to hold on. We just got to be poised. I had some hamstring problems going in the second half. We just wanted to make sure we just did our job, get a good team win.
How serious is it?
I'm all right. I think I'm all right. So I'm going to go get checked out, and I think I'll be fine for next one.
Will you guys celebrate this, allow yourselves to enjoy this win?
I mean, not really. You know, of course, this is a big series, a big win, but we on to the next now. So we got to get ready.
How much confidence does this give you going forward?
A lot. You know, as you maneuver through the playoffs, that's a part of it. Teams gain more and more confidence. So we're looking forward to our group just continuing to get better.
Jaylen, congratulations.
Thank you, Abby.
Jaylen Brown saying it's on to the next one. And this fourth quarter was wire to wire. You see Jaylen Brown right here getting 2 and a foul, put the Celtics up 104-99, and the Nets, they were trailing this entire quarter on their heels. Marcus Smart getting the offensive rebound and getting the bucket as well, 107-99. Then Marcus Smart back at it again, getting to the cup and getting the basket on this one. And Jaylen Brown just could not stop in this fourth quarter. This was when the Nets were just within 1 point of the Celtics, driving to the baseline, up for the basket. And this is where we knew the game was about to be over. Al Horford, he's going to save it right here. Marcus Smart going up. Al Horford says, don't worry about it. I'm going to put it inside of the basket. And that's all she wrote in that fourth quarter. We got Scal, who's live from the Barclays Center right now. And Scal, the Celtics, they sweep the Nets in this series. None of us saw this coming. Your biggest takeaway from this series?
The Celtics are way better because, like, if the Nets go offensive lineup, then the Celtics attack them off the dribble. If they go small, the Nets, if the Nets go small, the Celtics pound them on the glass. Everything that they did, they had a counter for. So I just thought when you look at these two teams, and I get it, like Joe Harris out, no Ben Simmons, and, the situation with James Harden at the beginning of the year, they're not a championship level team right now because of what they went through. But if you watch, the Celtics are much better at all different ways, and they have multiple guys that can guard, multiple guys that can shoot, multiple guys that move the ball. They were just a much better team.
And Kevin Durant said that he was in his head early on in this series. He dropped 36 points tonight, 7 rebounds and 9 assists. Scal, what was the difference with KD out there on the floor?
Space, like no more Drummond, like Claxton missing all those free throws. He had space to work, and it was a lot easier for him to get downhill in this game, a lot easier for him to pick people apart. Like I said at the beginning, Drummond is unplayable in this series. Like Claxton, if he's not making his free throws, he's unplayable in this series. And like I told you before with the Nets, they have an offensive lineup that can provide space for Kevin Durant to work, but then you give up the defense, then you give up the rebound. So I just thought the biggest difference today, I thought the Celtics did a really good job on them. Grant Williams, I thought he moved his feet really well. He just had more space to work.
Perk, how did the Celtics handle KD finding his rhythm in this game?
Well, it was too late. They didn't really care about him finding his rhythm. I mean, it was all about KD. It was all about the Celtics having Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown found their rhythm, in this series. But look, here's the thing, right? Kevin Durant went out there, he scored 36 points, but it wasn't a meaningful 36 points. It didn't really impact the game. The Celtics just kept imposing their will. And I can't say enough about Al Horford and Grant Williams. Those guys were so consistent and a huge part on why the Celtics finished this series and won and swept this series in great fashion. Al Horford, look, to be a year younger than me and go out there and play the way that he did on both ends of the floor, getting down and sliding those puppies and anchoring that defense, especially when Robert Williams wasn't available, we have to give him a lot of credit.
And I think what it really showed is that the Celtics are just a better team, a better organization from top to bottom. I'm talking about coaching staff and everything. Coach Ime Udoka just totally outcoached Steve Nash. The team totally outplayed the Nets. I mean, from top to bottom. I mean, when the subs came in, they played well. Like you spoke on Grant Williams, role players stepped up. They always talk about role players play better at home than they do on the road. Well, I didn't see it. I know Peyton Pritchard last game had huge 10 points in the first half. And to me, that's what I take away from this series is that the Celtics are just a better team from top to bottom.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. The Nets, just their off-court issues, just really, I feel like that bled its way onto the court in this series. All right, thanks so much, guys. Let's take a break here on Celtics Post Game Live. You see that final score from Brooklyn, 116-112. Coming up, we take a look at what Jason Tatum did on the court. That and more coming up next.
Celtics playoff coverage is presented by